So automations are basically when you use technology or software tools to automate repeatable tasks and processes. Now, some people say menial tasks, but I don't like the word menial because I kind of think that all tasks are important, no matter how menial they may feel to you. I do feel they are important. So it's where you use technology and software tools to automate repeatable tasks and processes. Did you know the average person spends 3 hours a day on tasks that could easily be automated? That means if you worked an 8-hour week, half of your work week, you would be doing things that could be automated. I mean, that is just like mind-blowing, right? So imagine if you freed up half of your work week and you were able to speed up your projects or get rid of the ugly things in your business that you don't like to do. So automating and streamlining your workflow. So again, customer journey or lead generation. So all those little funnels that you have, automating and streamlining them equals better productivity and an opportunity to be able to scale without burning out. Here's an example of burnout right here. Okay, because I can't keep up with my systems for my business. So at the moment, did you know that they haven't invented a burger flipping robot in fast food restaurants to flip the burgers because it'll be more efficient and quicker than a person flipping it. So things like accounting, onboarding, and data processing are all examples of things that you could automate. So why? Well, this is so that you are free to drive in more business and revenue and to do the things that you're a genius in or do them well in, or the things that you enjoy doing more of. Okay, but generally it is mostly important so that you can continue to do the marketing side. Right now, because I'm having to work on so many systems and processes on my business, it means I've had to step back on my lead generation and my marketing because I actually can't, until I fix that, I can't move forward. I'm going to take my earrings out. Are they banging? Can you hear them banging? Yeah, okay, I'll take them out. Always tell me because it's often buttons and earrings. All right, that's better. Nice earrings, though. See, nice earrings. Nice earrings. One thing you do have to consider is the cost of the software versus your time. So what is an hourly rate? Like, what are you worth on an hourly rate? And if it takes you, say, an hour to onboard somebody into your system, and your hourly rate is, $300 an hour, and it takes you an hour to onboard someone, but it costs you $100 a year for a piece of software to be able to do that, it's better to use the software. But a lot of people have software and they're actually not using them to the full complexity of what that software can offer. So it is important to get to know them. A lot of the softwares actually have very good helplines or frequently asked questions, and a lot of them have videos. Like this morning, I was like, Jen, get onto ActiveCampaign. We need to find out how to do this and if it can do that. So before we even start looking at another option, we're going straight to that company and we're asking, what is your solution for what I'm trying to do, or does it do this? And I've asked the question in two ways, because when you ask the question in what is your solution for this, I may not have thought of that solution yet. Or if I say, how do I add, for example, we're trying to add invoice attachments into a CRM, they might go, no, you can't do that. But if I ask the other way, which is, well, what is your solution for that? They're going to offer you a solution for that. So be careful how you ask those questions. It needs to be relevant to your customer journey and it needs to be user-friendly. So for example, when I send 0 invoices to my clients, they end up in their spam folder and nobody ever has paid me from a 0 invoice. No, I'm going to take that back. The only time they have, Lizzie, you can correct me, I'm going to say grants, but that's because they've had an email to say you have received a 0 invoice and it may be in your spam folder. So it has to be relevant to your customer journey. It's got to be user-friendly for you, user-friendly for your customer. You have to understand how it works and how you're going to use it, and you've got to make sure that it talks to the other systems within your business. And you've got to also put time in to manage and check it's working. We had an issue this week. There was one of our subscriptions, which is an automation, just suddenly stopped, which means someone's money wasn't coming out of their account. And you don't get a notification for that. It just suddenly goes crazy and it stops. So you've got to be on top of it, and you've got to make sure that you know how to fix these things, but you've got to know how to recognize when these things are happening. Other things that you can consider for automations are chatbots, but there's pros and cons when it comes to chatbots. They can be used well. Some are way overpriced for what they offer, but a lot of business owners who I work with often say to me that a chatbot, by the time they've managed that chatbot, they might as well be using an inquiry form. So why put another piece of something into your business to manage when you can simply just use the inquiry form? So some things that you can automate: your inquiry form or your contact us form. And don't forget, I'm a big fan of making sure that you have asked relevant questions in there. So any questions that keep coming up again and again and again, make sure that you include those questions in there. You could include a quote form. This is really good. I mean, this is something that we're looking at for a cleaning company at the moment, because for the cleaning company, they often say that when they say, we'll come clean your carpets, we get there and the carpets are actually filthy and need like 10 going overs. Well, sometimes it's light cleaning and you only need one. But if you ask the person, they're going to say, oh, it's just a light clean that I need, because they're worried about price. But if you say to them, please attach photos, they actually now have to take photos into the inquiry form, which means you get the photos and then you can quote adequately. For Michael, one of my other clients, he does window wipers. The same thing. They can now take photos of their windows, take approximate measurements, put it in there, which means you can quote, and you don't actually have to drive out to the person's location because of the time that's wasted. You can also automate, obviously, your events. So taking, your event bookings online, and obviously the follow-up automations, your invoicing to clients, tasking. So for example, if somebody doesn't open up an email or hasn't replied to, or has 7 days to answer an invoice, you can now automate the process of setting a task to remind you in 7 days that you need to follow up on that person. Appointment bookings, like booking calendars, email reminders, text reminders, and software to software. So things like, so if something doesn't talk, often you may need a plugin if it's a website, or you may need something like Zapier so that you can make that software talk. Onboarding. So onboarding is a good one. So when a client comes on, instead of me going in and having to email them everything, I can automate that process. All right, so what we might do now is we might just have a chat about what you have automated inside your business, and maybe we can get an idea. So I might start with Alison. Alison, if you'd like to unmute and just talk about some of the automations that you have in your business that you're aware of.
Yeah. My appointment calendar with, what else? Appointment calendar with emails, with Zoom, that's all together. I use Zapier to get people's details to go onto an email list, and that's with MailerLite. And of course, payment with Square. So Square and appointment systems all automated as well. That's
cool. So they pay online. Do you know if it issues them an invoice?
Pardon me?
Does it issue them an invoice as well?
Well, see, mine, they pay straight away, or they pay, if it's online, they pay via Square and Acuity Talk.
Yeah.
So they pay at the time, or if they're coming face to face, they'll pay directly in store. Yeah.
Okay.
With the Square software.
Yeah. So I must say one thing, that if you have systems and automations in your business and you bypass them, that's usually when the shit hits the fan. So remember that time when I was manually going, oh yeah, I'll just book you in for an appointment.
Yep.
And because I was manually doing it, people weren't getting their Zoom calendars, they weren't getting the reminders, because you've now messed up the entire system. So one of the other things I've got is my system now counts every time you book. So when you book your Calendly appointments, it gets added into your contact details, and I can actually see all the appointments that you have now. So we've been able to automate that as well. So I just thought of one. Thanks, Alison. And yes, Square works well for you because obviously that's in person and then that's online as well. Yeah, excellent. Jane, would you like to go with your automations?
I think I've only got one at the moment, and that is my pop-up on my website, so that it will just, I've only just changed it as well. So it used to be just a boring message about subscribe and you'll be updated with the latest news and get discounts on art supplies and blah, blah, blah. And I changed it only last week to a pop-up that says subscribe and you'll be sent a free drawing prompt. And I've had something like 5 or 6 people sign up in the last week.
Yeah, excellent. And actually track if you got any yesterday, because I tagged you actually in another group. I put your website in the group because you weren't a member of it. So it was actually a coin inquiry. And I said that you don't do coin. However, check this out. And the lady was so grateful. I said, I'll make sure you subscribe. So that was yesterday.
That's the only one I've got, but I did used to do Pinterest automations as well. So I was with Tailwind, which is the big Pinterest automation service. And that was really good. Like, it got me a lot of exposure on Pinterest. However, that exposure was coming from America. So I stopped it. Because it kind of flipped my Pinterest algorithms to the Americans.
Well, that's good. There we go. So we learned something from that as well. 100%. The software can do that. Jane, what about taking payment online?
That is all just through the website, through Shopify.
So through Shopify. So what about the plugins and that you have in Shopify?
Okay, so there's still PayPal, and there's what's it called? Payright? No, what is it? The one that everyone, Afterpay.
Afterpay, yeah.
Yeah, so you can pay via those, or Google Pay even.
And if they send you an email, so for example, somebody buys something, you obviously get an automated email to say somebody's bought something from you. Yep. And then you've obviously got to process the order.
I've got to process the order, but Shopify will tell me whether this person has visited before. It will tell me which day it visited, and it will tell me how they paid as well. So it's good in that way that I can actually track back how that person found me.
Yeah, excellent. Awesome. And those are all automations. So we forget about all the things that we've got happening, all the little machines that we've got happening in the back end that are making things possible.
I do have Later as well, which is it's really good for, Later's one of those social media calendar platforms, and it's really cheap to use, and it will now also do LinkedIn and Pinterest. So I can put a post out and it will go to, I think, 5 of my platforms, and you can change the wording and take hashtags out because you don't need them for this site and whatever. So I use Later as well.
Yeah, excellent. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. All right, Lizzie, are you up?
I'm here. Oh gosh.
You've got heaps.
I'm just automatic. In the car hire business, yeah, that's all automated. They get an online quote, We don't take payment till they get here, so that's pretty standard. But in the bookkeeping, I don't. Yeah, I probably do, but I can't think of any.
Are you still using 17 hats?
No, I was. No, totally switched from that. But yeah, I probably am at the point where I really need to automate my calendar, which I used to have it and then I cut it, but I'm sort of at the point where I probably need to go back to do it. I do automate all my clients, like diarising and stuff like that, so that they have set times, and so that way I keep it simple rather than messing it up sometimes. Yeah, but no, not really. I don't use any active campaign or mail outs or newsletters.
What for the car rental business, what quoting system do you use?
Oh, it's a special designed one for the It's called Rental Car Manager. It's especially designed for car hires. It does the online quoting, everything. They pick what sort of car, if they need baby seats, all that sort of stuff. It's especially designed for car rentals, and it creates the planner and everything. So it's a pretty good program, actually. It's a very old program, but it's very good.
Yeah, excellent. And often, you know, if you're struggling with an automation or something in your business, go and have a look at what someone else is doing.
Absolutely.
So with Jody's business, I actually went on and found another business that does pest and carpet cleaning, and I had a look at the words on how they communicated their sales process and how they said that they take payment at the time of booking, and then they, you know, included the photos and things as well. So go and have a look at what other people are doing, because often you can solve your problems by looking at that.
And also looking on other people's websites that you buy and follow the journey that they take you on and see if it's a good journey. But yeah, I probably spend most of my time cleaning up everybody else's automations rather than that's why I don't have many myself.
Hey, listen, I went for a bicycle ride yesterday, 12K bicycle round around the lakes, and my steering wheel was off my bicycle. And I'm like, this is like the electrician whose wires are all broken. Like, I'd try to turn and the steering wheel would be this way, and my wheel would be that way. And I'm like, I'm trying to cycle.
Do you not know a good bicycle mechanic?
No, obviously not. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Lizzie. Rachel, are you there? Do you want to share ours with you? Do you want to share yours with us? I don't know if she can. So Jane also uses Flowdesk for email automation. $19 a month. It's an American one for creatives. All right, Damien, we'll go with you then.
Yeah, I'm using ActiveCampaign. So I use that on my website. So when someone gets an online course or something like that, yeah, that gets sent out via ActiveCampaign. And I use a software called Bonjoro. So that notifies me when someone's downloaded a course or whatever, and then it notifies you on your phone. Then you can just send out a little video to them. So it makes it really automatic. Other than that, I'm using Acuity, Zoom, and Stripe. But yeah, I'm sort of at the stage, I've started using them all, but I haven't got them working properly. So at the moment I've got, yeah, I'm getting good numbers on my webinars, but I'm not doing the follow-up. So I need to get better at making that automatic so I can actually get some bang for my buck type thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And it is, it's just about learning it. It's like an ongoing thing where you've got to constantly learn. Damien, I'd love it if you could share that other one with us, because I don't know that one. So I could have a look at it and see whether or not it's something that I can use for someone else.
Yeah, cool.
That would be great. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
that'd be awesome.
What do you want me to do? Just type it in the comments,
or you could just put it in the VIP group, because then you can share it with everyone. So put it in the VIP group, and they can and have a look at that. And see. So the whole purpose of that is to send somebody a video as soon as they. Okay.
Yeah,
so
as soon as they download it. So for myself, like my courses are regarding anxiety, and so like it helps just to make it personal, so they feel like there's someone there with them and to call on type thing. It's not just something they've downloaded and they're on their own type thing.
So does it go as a text?
Yeah, it sends so it notifies me on my phone, and then I just record a little video and you push send, and it gets sent straight to their phone, to their email.
It gets sent to their email. Okay. Yeah. I suppose for your industry, that's good, because I mean, you don't want to be sort of going through Facebook Messenger or something like that.
Yeah.
And send them a message. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because that's definitely personalized. That's really nice. I like that. It is, I know with ActiveCampaign, you can automate it. So I'll go over how mine is that if somebody purchases on the website, obviously I'll get a notification to say that somebody has paid. That straight away sends an invoice to Lizzie, so she can write an invoice or send them a receipt. And then it automatically zaps them into their program, sends them their login details, an email with their login details, and then gives them the tag of what program they've done, and then we'll each like send them follow-up emails to see how they're going. Like, here's your link to book in your appointments. Here's what you can do. So that's basically how my programs work. So we can set up those automations. They do go wrong sometimes. Like on Thursday before the table of 17, we were only supposed to email the table of 17 tagged people to say, see you tomorrow. And we emailed our entire database, see you tomorrow. So that was interesting. I think we did get one extra person, so that did work. But with the, yeah, it is complex, and you just build them one at a time. You just build them and track the journey of that client. And then you should send up, you know, onboarding, nurturing during the program, and then follow-ups afterwards, or possibly even upsells. And then the same thing is, if you've got a lead journey, automate, how do you then follow up with them? And that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. When we write a quote, I want it automated so that they can send reminders to say, hey, you know, are you coming? Or are you going to jump in? Do you need to talk to someone? What's the story? Nurture them along the way so they can either pay or they can just carry on in our email sequences, and I can follow up on them, because same thing, I'm just not following up. The webinar follow-ups are really easy though. What did we do? All we did is at the end of the Zoom, you could upload all the contacts, uploaded all the contacts into ActiveCampaign, gave them the tag, attended, and I'd usually use the date, because that, you know, attended the date webinar. So they're all in ActiveCampaign tagged with that. Then you can send them into the automation called webinar follow-up. However, you generally have to personalize that first one anyway, because if your webinar title's different, your language is going to be different. So you might have a template ready to go, but you may have to go into that automation and just change it so that, I don't know, if you're talking about drugs one day and you talk about sex and rock and roll the other day, you can at least personalize that first initial email, go in, change it, and then push send, and it'll send everyone into that automation. And then into that automation, then you could go into that automation and see who's clicking on what, who hasn't opened it. We attach the recording as well sometimes. So we want to have a look at who's watched that recording. If they watched the recording, you can then send them on another automation to say, we noticed you checked out the recording. Would you like to have a chat, talk about it? Because obviously they become hot, or you could even pick up the phone and call them. So that would be sort of the webinar one. So you can kind of structure 2 or 3 emails afterwards, but generally it's just about creating that automation, that 3 email automation called webinar follow-up. But you're going to have to go in and just change that first one every time, and just make sure that it's relevant to what it is. The other follow-up ones can be the same. You can even set it so they can send you a task. So if people are clicking on things, so for example, when I send out emails, if you're clicking on the link, I get an email that says, Rachel clicked on this link, and I have that set up. So I get a lot of emails, and people go, why do you get those? And I'm like, I want to see who's clicking on my links. So that way I'm seeing who's clicking on my links. So I know to give them a call, or if they reach out on social media, I can actually chat to them. Does that help, Damien? I know we have an appointment. Do we have an appointment this week?
Yeah, I think on Wednesday. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. I've got to set all that stuff up, but I've got a long way to go with it.
Yeah. And it's ongoing. I'm going to tell you this.
I know.
Which Jen came and spent Jane came and spent a whole day with me the other day, because we had to catch up on everything, because my Facebook mastery program has become an online mastery program. So we had to go change the name in every single automation, and we have something like over 3,000 or something. Rachel, can you start doing yours while I just answer for my daughter? She's tried to call more than once, so I'm going to say something's wrong.
Yep. Can you hear me? Oh, that's going to be bad.
Chantal, you're on mute. Oh, she's meant to be on mute. Yeah. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh,
That's all right. She's back.
No, that's all good. Rachel, if you get rid of the other one, you'll be able to talk, because there's feedback at the moment because you've got 2. So you just need to remove yourself from the other one. Yeah, thanks for that. Sorry, it's my daughter. She's like, can you pick me up from school in my car so I can drive you home? And I'm like, no, I've had enough heart attacks all weekend. No, I'm busy. I'm out. Okay, so Rachel should be able to have a chat now. Let's have a look. Okay, try that now, Rachel.
Okay, that's cool.
Perfect.
Excellent. Excellent. There you go. Automation and technology.
When it works, it's great. When it doesn't, it sucks.
I know. So yeah, with the automation, I just agree with what Chantal just said before. It's a continual work in progress. And as my dad would say, it's like peeling layers off an onion. So you got to just sort of start somewhere and keep going. And probably what Chantal said before, which is trying to actually understand what each of your software do. I think I've touched on this before. My issue is always when each of the systems will actually offer a number of things, so that is the same, so they all overlap, and you're sort of like going, well, which one do I use for what, and where is it syncing into? So the names like Zapier and it's like throw the big words around and Active Campaign, but it's like, how does one actually put it all together? Because of course, like any time when you go into business, that's not what your skill set is. So who do you employ? Who do you ask? How do you streamline that? And like you're talking today, Chantal, like tags, like, oh, okay, so tags actually group certain customers. It's like, I didn't even know what the tags did. So it's just all that thing of trying to get your head around. So it's like, how do you actually create what you want if you don't know what the things can do, So
yeah,
it's
100%. You don't know what you don't know, right?
yeah.
So what Rachel's talking about is that every time somebody does something, you get tagged. So you get a tag, but it's almost like you just get a title or a notch. So if I go into my Active Campaign, you will all have a whole bunch of tags. You'll have a webinar tag if you came to a webinar with the date. If you came to table of 17, you will have the table of 17 tag. If you did the Facebook Plus program, you'll get the Facebook Plus program tag. If you did something else, if you got the DIY program, you'll get that tag. So that when you then send out emails, you can send out emails specific to those tags or set up automations to target those tags. And that's the unicorn that I'm looking for right now as an email marketing. I'm looking for an email marketing specialist, not generalist, to take care of that for me in my business, because I'm leaving heaps and heaps of leads on the table because I'm having to manage it. It's not my skill set, it's burning my brain. Yeah. I'd rather be doing what I do.
And I think that's what happened with me. And I guess for me, I come, and I know, Jane, you said, oh God, business plan and what have you, but I always have like an action list out of my business plan throughout the year. However, two things that came up for me this year that I wasn't expecting was to actually synchronize the invoicing, and also I'm doing a whole new website build. So, it's one of those things that about this time I like to start going, well, what am I going to implement next year? And so for 2021, so at the end of 2020, one of the things that I was going was we weren't getting enough but the cash flow. So I was putting like 7 days on my invoices, and the beautiful, wonderful Lizzie over there helped me put a payment button, because I didn't know how to get a payment button on my invoices. And so she helped me do all that, and we did same day sort of payment. And it's been a tremendous, huge amount of money that's been able to come in that I don't have to worry about, taking payments over the phone or anything like that, because the customer can do it. And the guys are getting the payments in the field. But now what we're trying to do is actually sync the invoicing, because now, like Chantal's saying, she's a bit overloaded in that particular area. Now I'm overloaded in the invoicing because I've been the one doing it all. And all of a sudden you're going, oh, it's just too much. So now Lizzie's helping me do that, where I can actually put it into. But then, like Chantal said, it's like, how much are you actually manually doing? Like, what parts are you manually doing? So I guess that's one thing I'd say, that Chantal spoke about, is like to work out what things can be done, that you haven't maybe thought of, to actually literally sit down and go through the actual customer journey on your platform that you're using and see if there's anything in there that could maybe still be automated that you haven't done, or that you may be doing yourself. So it is hard though, how much do you automate it and how much do you keep personal, and it depends on the type of business you have.
Yeah, 100%. It has to be friendly to you to use, but also friendly and well received from the customer. And that's why I love what Damien said about what he uses for that personal touch.
Can you touch on what Damien said? Because
he said that he sends him so if somebody signs up to his program, he gets a message to say that somebody signed up, and then he does a voice recording and sends it to them. Yeah, I think I got that right. If I didn't, let me know. And sends them a personalized message.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
really,
video.
really cool.
A video.
Personal video, yeah.
That's really nice. I like that touch. That's really cool. That's really different.
Yeah, really, really cool touch.